The art of Yoshitaka Amano, an artist known for his massive contribution in Final Fantasy, and, without a doubt, a vast array of titles in the novel and animation industry. After working on classic titles such as Gatchaman, Tekkaman, Honeybee Hutch, and Vampire Hunter D, his game art career started when he was 32 at around 1984. He was character designer of Ashes or Ramilla, which is a full motion game inspired by Dragon's Lair. Square took notice of his works, and they asked if they want to make character and monster art for their all-or-nothing title, Final Fantasy. The success of the game demanded for a sequel, known as Final Fantasy II. Unlike the first, this game had narrative-inspired main characters, and I think this served Amano's art extremely well. He stated that his best works come into fruition on text-based descriptions, sparking his imagination to the fullest, so to say. Therefore, it might come to no surprise that he rather avoids reference art from his peers in new projects. Other companies were mesmerized by his illustrations and asked him to do box art for Duel and First Screen. Final Fantasy III hit the shelves at the start of the 90s, and you guessed it, the original concept of the Chocobo was brought into the world as well. Without a doubt, Amano has an interesting take on monster designs, and Square loved him for it. He was asked to redesign the logo for the next title, Final Fantasy IV. This was the first one in the series and started the trend for the rest. Although some of the logos changed by re-release, it goes without saying that they all captured an important element of the story. That said, the groundbreaking reason behind the change from Kain to Golbez was, it looked cool. The new designs of Final Fantasy V and VI were no exception, at least for the Japanese release. America had their own version, due to localization reasons. This aside, Amano likes to work with traditional media such as watercolor, acrylic and pen. Nevertheless, he does not shy from experimenting with running ink, carving wood and copper plates. He is inspired by ukiyo-e, which are these old monochrome Japanese scroll and wall paintings. Around 96, he was asked to do other projects such as the mecha series Front Mission, the strategy game Karsia, and of course Final Fantasy VII. Here he actually transferred the scepter of the main character designs to Tetsuya Nomura, the creator of Cloud. So what about these images? Well, they are concept art for promotional purposes. Believe it or not, with all these consecutive titles under his belt, in 96 he became the highest earning artist in the world, earning almost $70 million in today's currency. If this does surprise you, do remember that in the background of his game art career he did work on other titles as well. Of course, Amano considered his involvement in the Final Fantasy series as the most important step for his career. For Final Fantasy VIII he did character artwork for mainly Squall and Cypher. These designs also functioned as promotional art. Because the last 3 entries were nudging towards steampunk, Final Fantasy IX took the old school direction, with Amano back again taking the role of the lead artist. So any fan of his works knows that he's kind of into blondes. And as you may expect, Garnet started out as one as well. But one could debate that a large array of his characters are lookalikes. This is one of the factors. But in his defense, he admitted that he totally forgets the artworks that he created anyways. At the start of the 2000s, he was creative director for Eldorado Gate and made promotional art for Final Fantasy X. Furthermore, he continued this role with Final Fantasy X too, the MMORPG main entry 11 and the Ivalice inspired 12. Around the start of 010, he did multiple logo designs, guest art for the card game Lord of Vermilion, Lord of Arcana, Unchained Blades, Dissidia, After Years, and the fan favorite Final Fantasy main title 13. During this period I find that his art style changed a bit, mainly by using more color in his pieces. Therefore it was not to my surprise that he was asked to do quite a few non-Square Enix related projects as well. His repertoire expanded, creating illustrations of games such as Fairy Fencer, Fantasy Life, and Child of Light. Between 014 and 18 he focused mainly on the Final Fantasy titles for the logos, and some promotional art for Brave Exvius and Final Fantasy 15. From that period on, the 2 non-Square Enix related game projects were the MMORPG Eternal and concept art for Ark of Alchemist. Another point worth to mention is that Amano also did small animation projects of his own art style, one in 1998 called 1001 Nights, and an animation trailer of Defasan in 2013. It's interesting to see his art come alive through motion, and therefore he created his own virtual reality museum, containing art that pop out the canvas. Just for fun, Here's a lineup of some of Amano's key character designs, from old to new. I'm fancy light novel author GP First, and I think Amano has a clear love it or hate it art style. Maybe some find it simple in the sense that his characters are too similar, and although it's clear that some are, this is a small proportion compared to all the artwork he created.